You were taught wrong about your ancestors. Not maliciously, just incompletely. The image most people carry of early humans is a group of desperate figures picking scraps from carcasses left behind by real predators, scavengers, opportunists, the weakest thing in any given landscape. And for a portion of early human history, that picture is accurate. But it is not the whole story. And the part that gets left out is the part that built your brain. The transition from scavenger to active hunter was not just a change in diet, it was a neurological event, a psychological threshold, a moment oraubri, or more accurately, a long series of moments across hundreds of thousands of years that rewired the human brain in ways you are still running today. Every time you feel the focus that comes before a high-stakes decision, every time adrenaline sharpens your thinking instead of clouding it, every time you feel the specific satisfaction of a goal pursued, cornered, and achieved, you are feeling the echo of something that began the first time your ancestors stopped waiting for something to die and started making it happen themselves. Here is what the textbooks skip. Early humans were not natural-born hunters. The evidence is clear on this. Paleoanthropologist Curtis Marean, whose excavations at Pinnacle Point in South Africa have produced some of the most detailed pictures of early human behavior available, has shown that for most of the lower Paleolithic, early humans were predominantly scavengers. They arrived at kill sites after the apex predators had finished. They used stone tools to access what the lions and hyenas had left behind, primarily bone marrow, the dense fatty nutrition locked inside the bones that larger predators couldn't efficiently extract. This matters because bone marrow is extraordinarily calorie-dense. It is rich in fat, in omega fatty acids, in the specific nutritional profile that the developing human brain required to grow. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham has argued extensively that access to high-quality fat, whether from marrow, from cooking, or eventually from fresh animal tissue, was the primary nutritional driver of the dramatic increase in human brain size that occurred between roughly 2 million and 200,000 years ago. The human brain is the most metabolically expensive organ in the body, consuming roughly 20% of your total caloric intake, despite being only 2% of your body weight. It needed fuel that plant material alone could not reliably provide, and the scavenged marrow of dead animals, cracked open with stone tools at dangerous kill sites surrounded by competing predators, was one of the earliest and most reliable sources of that fuel. Your brain, in a very literal sense, was built on scraps. But scraps were not enough, and at some point, researchers debate exactly when, but the evidence points to somewhere between 500,000 and 200,000 years ago, something shifted. Early humans began actively hunting, not just scavenging, not just arriving after the kill, planning, coordinating, pursuing, and making the kill themselves. What did that actually require? Neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp, whose work on the emotional systems of the mammalian brain remains foundational in effective neuroscience, identified what he called the seeking system, a primary emotional circuit present in all mammals that drives the pursuit of goals, resources, and rewards. When activated, the seeking system floods the brain with dopamine, not the dopamine of receiving a reward, the dopamine of pursuing one, the anticipation, the focus, the forward momentum towards something not yet obtained. Hunting activates the seeking system at a level almost nothing else in human experience matches. The tracking of prey over hours or days, the reading of signs, the coordination with other hunters, the moment of the final approach. Every stage of an active hunt floods the brain with precisely the neurochemical cocktail that makes sustained, focused, goal-directed behavior feel not just possible but compelling. The human brain did not develop a hunting capacity by accident. The hunting process actively shaped the brain's reward architecture over hundreds of thousands of years of selection pressure. The brains that hunted best were the brains that survived best. And hunting well required exactly the cognitive toolkit that separates human intelligence from almost every other species on Earth: planning, theory of mind, communication, patience, and the ability to delay gratification across extended timeframes. Your capacity for long-term thinking, for strategic planning, for reading the intentions of other people, these are, in a meaningful sense, hunting tools that found new applications. But here is the truth drop, and it changes how you understand something you probably felt recently. The first successful coordinated kill was not just a nutritional event, it was a social one. Anthropologist Kim Sterelny, whose work on the evolution of human cooperation has reshaped how researchers think about the relationship between cognition and community, has argued that the coordinated hunt was one of the primary engines of the deep social bonding that defines human groups. To hunt together successfully, early humans had to trust each other with their lives. They had to communicate complex intentions without language. They had to subordinate individual impulse to collective strategy. And when the kill was made, the sharing of the meat reinforced and deepened every one of those bonds. The post-hunt feast was not just eating, it was the consolidation of a social contract. The meat was divided, roles were acknowledged, status was negotiated, trust was banked for the next hunt. The campfire that followed a successful kill was, in many ways, the original human institution. The first meeting, the first celebration, the first collective act of meaning-making around a shared achievement. So what do you do with this? Notice the next time you feel that specific state. The focused, forward-leaning, goal-locked quality of attention that comes when you are pursuing something that genuinely matters to you. A project, a competition, a problem that needs solving. That state is not modern productivity culture. It is not hustle ideology. It is 200,000 years old, minimum. It is the seeking system your ancestors used to track prey across a landscape to coordinate with their group, to make the kill that fed the brain that eventually built everything you live inside of now. You are not a scavenger picking at the edges of other people's achievements. Your brain was not built for that. It was built for the hunt. The question is only what you choose to pursue with it.